The rise of Vladimir Putin. Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating journey of Vladimir Putin, from his early days to his current status as one of the most influential leaders in the world. From the collapse of the Soviet Union to his re-emergence as a dominant force on the world stage, Putin's story is one of ambition, power, and enduring mystery. Join us as we explore the pivotal moments that shaped his path to the Kremlin and analyze the impact of his leadership on Russia and the world.
Emboldened by my first-term successes and riding a wave of popular support, I easily won re-election in 2004, securing a second term as President of Russia. This period saw a continuation of my assertive domestic policies and a more muscular foreign policy, raising concerns in the West about Russia's direction. I continued to centralize power, tightening control over the media and political opposition. I introduced changes to election laws, making it more difficult for independent candidates to challenge the Kremlin-backed United Russia Party. Human rights groups criticized these moves as a rollback of democratic freedoms, but I argued they were necessary to ensure stability and prevent chaos. Economically, Russia continued to prosper under my second term, fueled by high oil prices and continued economic reforms. The country enjoyed a period of sustained growth, leading to improved living standards for many Russians. However, this economic prosperity was unevenly distributed, with corruption and cronyism enriching my inner circle, while many ordinary Russians struggled to make ends meet. On the world stage, I adopted a more assertive foreign policy, challenging what I saw as US hegemony and advocating for a multipolar world order. The 2008 Russo-Georgian War highlighted Russia's willingness to use military force to protect its interests, marking a turning point in relations between Russia and the West. Barred by the Russian constitution from seeking a third consecutive term as president in 2008, I orchestrated a carefully managed transition of power. My close ally, Dmitry Medvedev, became president, while I assumed the role of Prime Minister, retaining significant influence behind the scenes. The Medvedev presidency, from 2008 to 2012, was marked by a more liberal tone in domestic politics and a reset in relations with the United States. Medvedev spoke of the need for modernization and political reform, and he oversaw a brief thaw in relations with the West. However, it became increasingly clear that I remained the dominant figure in Russian politics, pulling the strings from my position as Prime Minister. In 2012, in a move that surprised no one, I announced my candidacy for president, setting the stage for my return to the Kremlin. My decision to return to the presidency after a 4-year hiatus sparked protests in Russia, with many Russians, particularly in urban areas, expressing their discontent with my grip on power and my perceived authoritarian tendencies. The protests, the largest since I came to power, were met with a harsh crackdown by the authorities, further fueling tensions between the Kremlin and segments of Russian society. Despite the protests, I easily won the 2012 presidential election, albeit with a reduced margin of victory compared to my previous landslide wins. My return to the presidency marked the beginning of a new chapter in my rule, one characterized by growing authoritarianism, increasing tensions with the West, and a more assertive foreign policy. My third term as President of Russia, from 2012 to 2018, would prove to be a pivotal period in my rule and in Russia's relationship with the West. It was marked by a series of events that dramatically escalated tensions between Russia and the West, leading to a new era of geopolitical rivalry. In 2014, following the overthrow of Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, a pro-Russian leader, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula, a Ukrainian territory with a majority Russian population. The annexation of Crimea was condemned by the West as a violation of international law and resulted in the imposition of economic sanctions on Russia. I defended the annexation, arguing that it was necessary to protect the rights of Russian speakers in Crimea and to prevent NATO expansion into Russia's historical sphere of influence. The annexation of Crimea marked a turning point in relations between Russia and the West, leading to a level of mistrust and hostility not seen since the Cold War. Russia's involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine, which erupted shortly after the annexation of Crimea, further exacerbated tensions with the West. The conflict between Ukrainian government forces and pro-Russian separatists backed by Russia has claimed thousands of lives and displaced millions of people. The West accused Russia of providing military support to the separatists, a charge Moscow denied. The conflict in Ukraine, coupled with Russia's military intervention in Syria in 2015, solidified my image as a global power broker willing to use military force to protect Russian interests and challenge the West. As of November 2023, I remain a dominant force in Russian politics, having secured a fourth term as president in 2018. My rule has been characterized by a complex mix of authoritarianism, economic pragmatism, and a resurgent foreign policy aimed at restoring Russia's status as a global power. Domestically, I have maintained tight control over the political system, cracking down on dissent and limiting political freedoms. While I enjoy high approval ratings among many Russians, particularly older generations who credit me with restoring stability after the chaos of the 1990s, my rule has faced growing criticism from younger generations and urban populations who yearn for greater political freedom and economic opportunity. Economically, Russia faces significant challenges, including Western sanctions, dependence on energy exports, and endemic corruption. While I have overseen periods of economic growth, particularly during my early years in power, the Russian economy has struggled in recent years, leading to declining living standards for many Russians. On the world stage, I have pursued an assertive foreign policy, challenging the West and seeking to reassert Russia's influence in its near abroad and beyond. From the annexation of Crimea to military intervention in Syria, I have demonstrated Russia's willingness to use military force to protect its interests. However, these actions have come at a cost, leading to increased tensions with the West, economic sanctions, and diplomatic isolation. As of November 2023, the future of my rule and Russia's place in the world remains uncertain, with significant domestic challenges and strained international relations.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Let us know in the comments what you think about Vladimir Putin's journey and his impact on global politics. From the streets of Leningrad to the halls of the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin's story is one of ambition, power, and enduring mystery. His leadership has reshaped Russia both domestically and on the world stage, leaving an indelible mark on the 21st century.